I care about you. Your concerns are my concerns. We have great sex.
But you're 17 years old.
I was taken to a small attic crawl space in my mother's country house in Connecticut by my father. He instructed me to lay down on my stomach and play with my brother's toy train that was set up. And he sat behind me in the doorway, and as I played with the toy train, I was sexually assaulted.
I care about you. Your concerns are my concerns. We have great sex.
But you're 17 years old.
How did your thoughts on the scene change that you watched Dylan's interview? Can you just see the movie as it is? Or do you feel the sense of discomfort or disgust at all? Woody Allen, also known as the America's National Treasure and the world's most accomplished filmmaker, is easily the most successful film director in the movie industry. Starting from What's Up, Tiger Lily, his consistent filmography continues till today with his recent film Rainy Day in New York starring Selena Gomez. Allen is one of the directors like Tarantino as Wes Anderson, consisting the strongest fan base who praises the Woody Allen aesthetics. This remarkable film director, however, is also one of the most controversial figures in the film industry. He has not one but multiple accusations of pedophilia, sexual assault towards his daughter, Dylan Farrow, at the age of 7. His scandal does not end here. Woody Allen became controversial once again when the public found out about his quite strange relationship with his adopted daughter, Soon-Yi Previn. Mia Farrow found a nude photography of her adopted daughter in Allen's room and soon realized that Allen and her daughter Soon-Yi had been having sexual intercourses throughout the years. Following the shocking scandal on the year of 1977, Allen and Soon-Yi got married in Venice. Allen was 62 and Previn was 27 years old. Regardless of his private life, Allen was nominated for a Tony Award and has won 4 Academy Awards, 2 Golden Globe, 10 BAFTAs, and 3 Oscars. Some critics expressed discomfort towards an alleged pedophile for getting such recognition, especially with the Me Too movement exposing many significant figures in the film industries have started to boycott his movies, and this is where the debate re-embarks. Separation of art from its artist has been a question that hasn't been able to be answered from the beginning of the history of art. Pablo Picasso was a womanizer, but he is a father of Cubism. Coco Chanel was a Nazi spy, but she's a founder of Chanel. Alfred Hitchcock sexually assaulted Tippi Hedren, but he is considered, quote-unquote, the master of suspense. And the list goes on and on. Some argue that art should be separated from the work, since the artist's moral compass and wrongdoings are not always reflected on the work of art itself. In the historical stance, the New Critics and the followers of the New Critics during the early 20th century advocated for the separation of art from its creators. Barth, in his essay Death of the Author, argues that the author has no sovereignty over his own words or images, sound, etc., that belongs to the readers who interpret them. In other words, the New Critiques argued not to totally disregard the wrongdoing of an artist, but to value the art itself, to dismiss the artist's influence on a piece of art. They believed that a work of art with much aesthetical merit should be able to stand on its own, regardless of its historical context, and should be able to communicate with its audience despite the generation and dimension. Therefore, by reassessing the art from a different perspective, we can both protect and appreciate the work we love and turn the once beloved monsters worthless. In the time of era when you can never forebode the next suspect, some say that it is more futuristic to separate the art completely and to see the art as an independent, standalone value, since it can promote a culture where audiences do not acknowledge nor worship the creator. One of the main reasons why people protest against the separation of art from its artist is that by still appreciating and supporting the art, we are monetarily supporting the artist. Whether if we're going to a gallery to see Picasso's Guernica for the sole appreciation towards a cubism, or if we're going to a theater for the cinematography of Woody Allen's film, in the long term, no matter how much we disdain the artist will gain in finance. And because people do not want to directly or indirectly financially support these monsters, they propose to bury both art and its creators. Another reason why people advocate that we cannot divorce the art from its artist is because of the inconsistent standards towards which art represents or does not represent the artist's misconduct. As much as parties like New Critiques argue that art can stand alone by itself, when the art itself reflects the misconduct and perspective of the artist, it becomes very difficult to see the art as it is. For example, R. Kelly was reported of pedophilia in releasing a song called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. And Louis C.K. has been reported for cornering Dana Min Goodman and Julia Wolf and masturbating in front of them at the U.S. Comedy Arts and Festivals in 2002. It is hard to watch Louis C.K. stand-up comedy with the flurry of sexual innuendos, especially towards an underage woman, and listen to R. Kelly's song knowing their past perversion. And even though not every single piece of art from his or her career represents these values, the line is too vague for anyone to argue that a complete disparity between art and artist exists. In the case of artists who are controversial because of their actions towards others, we must remember and recognize the presence of the victims. Dylan Farrow wrote in her open letter where she makes a bitter comment towards the public who still appreciates Allen's film. Woody Allen is a living testament to the way our society fails the survivors of sexual assault and abuse. So imagine your 7-year-old daughter being led into an attic by Woody Allen. Imagine she spends a lifetime stricken with nausea at the mentions of his name. Imagine a world that celebrates her tormentor. Are you imagining that? Now, what's your favorite Woody Allen movie? It is neither required nor demanded the public to empathize and sympathize with the victims. However, regarding that the victims had to undergo a public confrontation to the world and had to fight against those who are the most influential and powerful in the field, it is humane to at least publicly neglect the work made from those monstrous men. By allowing the art to exist and for it to be appreciated from the society, we are, in a way, giving out the connotation that the misconducts have exceptions and are sometimes able to be dismissed. One common factor amongst those predators, such as Woody Allen, Harvey Weinstein, Louis C.K., R. Kelly, and Kevin Spacey, is that they are the public figures who are very powerful and influential both in our society and in their field of industry. The industry that was most impacted by the Me Too movement was both the political and the creative field, both in which uses us, the audiences, as their power source. So ultimately, debate on whether or not if we can separate the art from its artist sparked to find the best way to limit these power being abused by the wrong men and to find a way to restore the authority that's been abused. Dismantling this deeply rooted, toxic power structure of celebrity worshiping culture and granting too much authority to public figures should be our main concern. Finding the most efficient way to fight against these power structure is going to be our upcoming conundrum and dilemma. The film Manhattan is a love story between a 40-year-old man, Isaac, and a 17-year-old girl, Tracy. Although The Guardian praised this film as Woody Allen's middle-period masterpiece from 1979, audiences who are aware of the scandals among Allen, Soon-Yi, and Dylan cannot purely interpret this film as a love story between a man and a woman. Your knowledge determines your insight. Separation of art from the artist can never be a black and white debate, but is a debate that requires flexibility and judgment from the audience. There are many ways in which we can seek for resolution where an individual can decide the path from them to efficiently remove the authority of the artist. But as all sides ultimately seek for, we should find a way to dismantle such power structure coming from one's name value and fight our ways towards a society where being famous does not grant one an easy pass out from their crime.